Hello, in this episode of the video series I've prepared to help with the feeling of shame and the problems people face related to shame. We will explore whether the feeling of shame can change over time. I aim to provide a solution to the curiosity on this topic and to help those asking this question gain awareness by offering a different approach. Let's start by emphasizing that awareness is one of the most effective remedies. I don't want to keep those who want a quick answer to the question waiting, so the answer to your question is yes, it can change. Now, why and how? What will happen in the passing time that will make the feeling of shame change? What is the difference between the moment it has just passed and disappeared and the moment just before it, when it hadn't passed yet? Clearly, there is a reality here that the human eye cannot see and the mind cannot grasp. What could this reality be? Or which perspective could bring us closer to seeing this reality? Perhaps each person can offer a different option for this perspective. Let's explore one of them together. Can the feeling of shame become visible by accepting it as a teacher or a messenger? Our intention is not to create a new story for ourselves, of course. So, let's try to explain how this might happen. Let's try to illustrate this with an example. If your eyes couldn't see the color red, would you be aware of the existence of the color red? Let's include all the tools and technologies we have in our hands for those among us who are ready with quick and clever responses. If nothing is helping us see the color red, could we be aware that there is a color called red? Of course, we would still see the actual thing that is red, but the color we see could be limited by the boundaries of our eyes and the resources we have at hand. Maybe, like in some animals, we might see the originally red color as blue. Perhaps the originally red thing is not even red. In fact, maybe it's not even a color. Being completely liberated from all definitions and meanings, perhaps it's just a thing. Maybe, it goes beyond being a thing and becomes nothing. Ultimately, for it to be a thing, there must be something else that can call it a thing. What I mean is, something else that witnesses it determines its definition. Just like our eyes saying, "This is blue," to red because they cannot see its true color. Shame, like all other emotions, is just a definition, not its essence. Throughout the ages, the enlightened ones have managed to go beyond known and accepted definitions, reaching the essence, self, or what they call God. If you notice, they often give the same answer to many questions. They always point to what they found and advise everyone to seek it. The reason is not that they give a rehearsed answer, it's because they have asked the same question in their own journeys and found that the answers they found did not satisfy the reasons for asking the question. Therefore, they respond to the question you ask as if they were talking about something else. At the beginning of the journey, especially when your mind is filled with hundreds of questions, these answers they give can be frustrating. While asking these questions and finding answers, they have actually seen what they are looking for. Let's set these aside for now and return to our question. The feeling of shame changes over time. However, what changes is not shame itself. In other words, events and situations do not change. What changes are the definitions. Something else comes into being when you no longer define what you experience as shame. So when does this happen? Why does it happen? What is actually happening in this seemingly spontaneous process? Probably, what actually happens is this: you have taken what the emotion you define as shame and the situations and events you evaluate in this context bring to you and fully accepted them. Like with all other emotions, you are producing a physical reaction against the feeling of shame, even if you are not aware of it at that moment. Most likely, some part of your body or a muscle group is tense or solidified. Many of the negative thoughts are echoes of the energies trapped inside you. One of the biggest desires of a person feeling shame is probably not to feel shame. It is to not want this shame, meaning there is resistance in the place where shame energy will enter and dissolve. Whether it is in your brain or your heart, there is probably a part of your body that is tense and stiffened during the experience of shame. The shame passing over time means that this spontaneously tense region, which does not accept and take in this energy, now takes in and destroys this energy in its own existence. This is probably what is happening behind the scenes of shame passing over time. The enlightened ones try to see God in everything or try to see the good within the bad events they encounter. Over time, they begin to see both poles of effortless existence spontaneously. Those who have newly realized and practiced this start to try to see what is brought to them through those things rather than being interested in the inherent nature of those things. They live life easily and with interest, as if playing a game. They encounter everything differently than other people. One of the things that sets them apart from other people is that they do not react excessively to events and situations, just like in the case of the feeling of shame, which is the subject of this video. In short, what this example is trying to convey is this: the essential point in something passing is not its disappearance but its transformation. In the known state of life, nothing disappears but transforms. The situation is the same for emotions and thoughts. What will disappear is not the feeling of shame but the reaction produced against the feeling of shame. This can only happen with the complete understanding of that emotion. This process is valid for energy levels with other heavy effects, such as guilt. I hope that what was explained in this video has at least helped you understand the process. If, despite knowing this, you still cannot find what you need to understand, consult a specialist or reach out to me. Also, remember this: maybe there is nothing more to understand in that situation your mind is constantly grappling with. Try not to ignore this, even if your mind struggles to accept it. See you in the next videos. Stay well.